Hi, and welcome to Inside KISD and our first episode of 2023. I'm Tyson Denton.
And I'm Hamida Botchway. Thanks for joining us.
On this week's episode, we'll visit with a few recent CTSO award winners, hear about New Year's resolutions, and learn about the Month Steel Award winners.
We'll also get a tour of the new veterinary labs here at the KCC, reflect on Martin Luther King Jr., and take a quick look at historical events in January. All this and more on Inside KISD.
Prior to the holiday break, a group of Ira Cross Elementary School students received free haircuts from the community's partners OG School of Hair Design. The 21 students ranging from pre-kindergarten through 5th grade took part in the school's Fly High Barber event. Communities and School Site Coordinator Cinnamon Clay said the idea is for young men to walk out feeling their best with a new fly cut in time for the holidays. As students cycled into the gym for their haircut, they also sat at tables and played games with the soldiers, volunteering from the school's adoptive unit. Communities and schools provide a variety of services at the school across the district, including events like this and small group tutoring sessions.
KISD wouldn't be what it is without the teachers. On this week's Teacher Spotlight, AV1 correspondent Miguel Gray introduces us to Miss Lavender, a Killeen High School English teacher.
My name is Ariana Lavender, and I am an English teacher at Killeen High School. This is my 16th school year. I wanted to make a difference in a young person's life, and not necessarily just about English, but help them to become a better citizen when they're going out into the world. Just getting to establish relationships with all different kinds of students, and not just necessarily the relationships that are in the classroom, but some of them are longer lasting. When the students graduate, I love being able to hear what's going on in their adult lives and see the impact that I've had on them, and just feel proud of their accomplishments. Making sure that I can relate the content to my students is definitely a great challenge, and just trying to keep everything relevant and make sure I engage them in the learning, and making sure that they're able to express their voice and learn about English at the same time. I see both of my parents as role models. They are fantastic people and have instilled in me some of the most wonderful values, and I can depend on them for absolutely anything, and they are 1000% supportive of me, so I greatly appreciate that. I would say be patient. There are going to be times where you're going to be pushed to the limit, but if you can dig deep and find that patience, then there will be rewarding things that happen in the classroom, and it'll be absolutely worth it when you come across those moments.
Completing the free applications for Federal Student Aid, or FAFSA, forms allowed students to be considered for Federal Student Aid, but since available aid is limited, you have to meet the deadlines. The FAFSA form must be submitted by 11:59 p.m. Central Time on June 30th, 2023. In addition to aid, some states and colleges use FAFSA information to award their own grants, scholarships, and loans. Remember, the deadline is June 30th, 2023, but the earlier you get it finished, the better your chances for funding.
The first Steel Award winner of 2023 has been named. Robert McGonigal, the parent educator of Commuter Aid and Clear Creek Elementary. McGonigal serves the campus during the day and in the evenings teaches a free computer skills class to KISD parents and community members. Called a true servant, Robert is fantastic at making parents and community members feel comfortable learning computer skills. He's able to customize his class introduction and to meet the needs of his learners. His classes allow parents to gain confidence in using technology successfully. SEAL means supporting the education and empowerment of learners. KISD announces 2 SEAL Award recipients a month. Congratulations, Robert McGonigal, one of the January Steel Award winners.
This week, we honored Martin Luther King Jr. and all that he did for equality and the civil rights movement in the 1960s with a holiday in his honor. Co-host Tyson Denton and student journalist Jalen Wiggins honored his memory with a segment on his life and accomplishments.
Martin Luther King Jr., a civil rights activist, husband, father, and inspiration to millions around the world, spent a large portion of his life fighting for equal rights through nonviolent civil disobedience. In his early life, his original name was Michael, but in 1934, his father traveled to Germany and was inspired by a protest Reformation leader named Martin Luther.
and as a result, he changed his name and his son's name to Martin Luther King. And soon after, it wouldn't be long before he had his first run-in with segregation and racism, as according to his autobiography, his white friend suddenly refused to play with him as a child, which he expresses as the moment he became interested in fighting racism. But it seems even at an early age, he was meant for greatness. King worked at an Atlanta delivery station, and when he was 13, he quickly became the assistant manager. Unfortunately, around this time, he was also battling severe depression and having already attempted suicide twice in the past. But as an adult, this would inspire him to finally start his own civil rights movement. School wasn't just a place he excelled in. He did so well, he skipped grades 9 through 12, and shortly after, he enrolled in Morehouse College in 1944 at age 15. And although he was the son, grandson, and great-grandson of the Baptist ministers, King didn't plan on following the pattern. King eventually graduated with a degree in sociology, and later went on to Boston University to receive his doctorate in systematic theology in 1955. And while studying in Boston, he would also meet his future wife, Coretta Scott, whom he would go on to have 4 children with. Finally, in 1955, he began his journey on the civil rights movement. One of his most notable movements was the bus boycotts of the same year, where civil rights activist Rosa Parks refused to go over his seat and was arrested. The next day, over 40,000 African-American bus riders refused to ride the bus. Fortunately, his fame led to a lot of hate. After a failed assassination attempt in 1958, it was only 10 years later where he was shot and killed in Memphis, Tennessee.
The 12th Annual Science Olympiad will take place on Saturday, April 1st, 2023 at Nolan Middle School, and they are looking for volunteers to help the events run smoothly. The Olympiad is in need of both general volunteers and judges for each event. If you would like to volunteer in some capacity, please email Renee Penland at reneepenland@cleanisd.org and indicate whether you wish to be a judge or a volunteer. Positions will be filled on a first-come, first-served basis, and judges and volunteers will be notified once all the positions have been filled.
It's said that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and skipping it could lead to poor focus, attitude, and suffering grades. AV1 correspondent Ava McBride shows us how to make her mother's famous buttermilk pancakes in this week's How To segment.
Hi, my name is Nancy, and today I'm going to teach you how to make buttermilk pancakes. For the dry ingredients, you'll need 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 3 tablespoons of sugar, 3/4 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. For the wet ingredients, you'll need 3 tablespoons of melted butter, 2 eggs, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla, and we're substituting, because we're making buttermilk, 1 to 1/4 cup of buttermilk. And now we're at the point where we can use our wire whisk and mix all our ingredients together. And remember to not overmix the ingredients. We've now completed our mixture, so we can move on to the cooking portion. So we're gonna grab our pan, put it on a burner, and start letting it warm up. I'm now gonna use the 1/4 measuring cup and add the mixture onto the hot pan. So this pancake, we're gonna lift up, and we're looking for that golden brown. We can now take the pancakes off the hot pan and enjoy these wonderfully delicious morning treats.
Featuring a talking bus, local fire and police departments, and K-9 officers, Clean ISD campuses participated in several types of programs and presentations during School Safety Week to teach students about the safety inside and outside the classroom. Buster, the bus, spent a busy week visiting elementary students to share about bus safety and how to safely ride the bus. Buster educated students on emergency exits, how to report bullying to the bus driver, and ended the presentation off with a dance-off. The K-9 officer Sauron and his handler, Officer Quinero Vigaliguez, visited Maudmore Elementary on Friday morning for a K-9 demonstration. The nearly 5-year-old German Shepherd had no trouble keeping the attention of the audience members, as the officer duo demonstrated Sauron's abilities with the commandments spoken to him in the Dutch language. Other events around KISD include poster making, Community Hero Day, Dress Up Day, and sharing appreciation for law enforcement.
January is filled with plenty of important historical events. I took a moment to pick my favorite historical January moments in this Day in History segment. This month in history, January 1st, 26 countries signed the Declaration of the United Nations in Washington, D.C. On New Year's Day, 1942, President Roosevelt, Prime Minister Churchill, Maxim Litvinov of the USSR, and TV Song of China signed a short document which later became the Declaration of the United Nations. The next day, representatives of 22 other nations added their signatures. The Declaration by United Nations contained the first official use of the name United Nations. The name United Nations was coined by the United States President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The government that signed this declaration pledged to accept the Atlantic Charter and agreed not to negotiate a separate peace with any of the Axis powers. On January 3, 1959, President Dwight Eisenhower signed a proclamation admitting the territory of Alaska into the Union as the 49th and largest state. The United States agreed to purchase Alaska from Russia for $7.2 million, or about 2 cents an acre, in 1867 in the aftermath of the Civil War. January 5, 1972, President Richard Nixon signs a bill authorizing $5.5 million funding to develop a space shuttle. The space shuttle represented a giant leap forward in the technology of space travel, designed to function more like a cost-efficient, reusable airplane than a once-used only rocket launch capsule. The portal afforded NASA scientists and pilots more time to do space-related research. That's a quick look at important events that happened this month in history.
Here at the Career Center, we focus on learning and what it takes to make a living on our school industry of choice. Part of our ability to succeed is having the access to the best teachers and latest equipment. Student journalist Aidan Shepard gives us a tour of the new veterinary labs here at KCC.
Over this way, this is our entire half for grooming. We have 3 bathtubs and all of these tables where we teach the juniors every day how to correctly bathe a dog, cut their nails, etc. The whole facility is relatively new. We do have better runs now other than it just being a fenced-in backyard. And now we have reception and separate exam rooms in the back now too. We just practice back here about how the juniors will come from reception and then bring in a client and their patient in here and work a room and then treat animals. This is our lab area. This is where we'll run like fecal tests or blood tests, urinalysis, and etc. And we have all of our microscopes to look at cells. Over on these tables, we normally just teach restraints for the juniors. And then we did a lot of like filling a syringe and pharmacy, like pill counting and stuff over here. Me personally, I wish we would have had this last year. It definitely beats the portable that we were stuck in because it was all hot and there wasn't much space. And a lot of the juniors are able to go more into separate groups and get a gist of how one section of their clinic will work next year.
What's going on, KISD? It's Christian Santos here, and today we're going to be hitting the halls to find out everybody's New Year's resolutions.
My New Year's resolutions were to be a better person, of course, and I stalked show and radio to win another national show.
Yes, to be better in school and out of school.
Dope.
Don't be late to my classes.
Not really, but I do always want to maintain healthy balance, life-work balance as well. So I guess I would say that would be my 2023 resolution.
To live by every year. You have any New Year's resolutions for this year?
I don't really have any New Year's resolution, but something that I always live by is just always be positive and have a good attitude about everything. That changes everything in every situation.
I do have some 2023 resolutions. I do this little hobby called Warhammer 40K, and you build and paint these models. And I have a bunch of these models that are sitting on my desk, unpainted. So my goal is to try to get them all done this year, because I'll graduate in the spring, and I'll have more time.
Thank you for watching Inside KISD Student-Produced Television. For Tyson Denton, our crew backstage, and all of us here at the Career Center, I'm Hamida Botchway. Thanks for joining us.
Our vision is to empower students to be knowledgeable, confident in their skills, prepared, and competitive as they transition into post-secondary education and career opportunities as productive members of society. The KISD Career Center. Dream big. Work hard.